Hey everyone, welcome back to JP's Budget Collecting. And as I'm knocking stuff off my desk, and Cash or Trash, this is where JP looks at this week's hot comics, whether they were on CBSI's Hot Top 10 or the Comic Tom Key Collector hottest trending comics of the week. And I rip them a new one. So, not always, but that's sort of what I do. So I tell you why you shouldn't go all FOMO and chase these things, at least in my opinion. As you guys know, I do the look back after 6 months. I try to use that information to inform my opinion on the show, but this is strictly my opinion. I have been right, I have been wrong, about equally. Maybe a little more right than wrong, but not a lot. So mainly because some of these books, just the market has been a little crazier this year than it has been in the past. So I want to shout out this chat real quick, and then we will get into my opinion, and you guys can tell me where I'm wrong or not being harsh enough or whatever we want to do on this Sunday afternoon. So we had Ruben Guzman tailgating. What's going on, Cowabunga fan? The pie face is in the house. He says he's looking for something interesting to listen to as he's washing up. Sorry, this is I'm not that interesting, but I'll try. So, Jacob Creative, what's going on, my friend? Sam, I am. Thank you for hanging out. Kachung, and I assume Delphia is nearby. Thank you for hanging out as well. I must be food fed my Spagnolis. We'll get into it. This was not as bad a week as some, but some of the bad is really bad. So we'll get into it here in a second. Jungle 48, what's going on? Dre is in the house. What's going on? All right. That looks like everybody that showed up in the chat so far. So let's talk about these lists. As always, I will throw these into some categories. I'll try to remember to pull up my little branding. I don't always remember. But yeah, let me get my little info. I'll be honest, I did not have as much time to think about what I was going to say about these this week as I normally do. But so I'll be thinking about them as I'm talking about them. First up, we have A Tomahawk, #1. And this is obviously a Donny Cates project that people keep thinking might get optioned or something. So this week, Donny Cates put out a post on social media that news was coming with A Tomahawk. And so everybody went out and chased this book. Ross, we're going for 25-ish on average, 9.8, hit 150. And then the information of why his news came out, and it was basically that the artist who did this book, who's also a tattoo artist, was working with somebody to release a action figure. And yeah, so we were chasing this book because there's an action figure. At some point, once God Country comes out, maybe that book is not a trap. But right now, yeah. Donny Cates suckered you if you chase this, because he loves to do this. He loves to feed the spec machine. Donny Cates is the king of spec in terms of just making people go crazy and chase books. And that's sort of what he did this week. And yeah, so that was definitely a trap, in my opinion, at least for now. Thanks to go to the sources around my way. Thank you, Jay. I appreciate that. So, next up, I'm having issues. Come on. Is Afterlife with Archie, #1, or 0. Sorry, I think this is. Or did I mark the? No, A Tomahawk was #0. This was #1. I wrote those down wrong. Yeah, A Tomahawk #0 is the book, and this is #1. I'm a dummy. But anyway, so this spec is all based on. So basically, one of the characters in the Riverdale show died. And one of the creators behind the show posted this image, which I forgot to find, and I didn't put out any effort. Forgetting. I just didn't put out the effort. Hey Barry, what's going on? Of a zombie hand coming up out of a grave, and so people are specking that they're going to bring think it's Jason Blossom is the character that died back and like go into this afterlife of Archie thing. They're talking about having a crossover with the Sabrina show. So people are specking on this book. Basically, raw copies are going for 20. 9.8 went for over 100. Riverdale is trash. Loves Archie, trash. Hey, Unruly, what's going on? Grotto, what's going on? And yeah, like, I'm almost like this because how often do these TV show things, like, it's a storyline, come on. It's just a storyline in a show that might last 2 episodes, maybe 3. Why are you chasing? If it's a crossover thing with Sabrina, why are you chasing this? Yeah, that's Unruly's on the road. Seems like he's always on the road lately. He must be a busy man, although he was on Comic Books NYC's original art hour last night. So if you did not check that out, go check that out because Unruly showed off his original art collection and it was really cool. So next, we're going to move into covers. Oh, I got to go over here. Come on. And we have this Miles Morales Spider-Man number 21, this 1 in 10 variant. Cool Miles covers have been hot all year because Miles has been hot. This 1 in 10 is going for triple ratio at around 30. That's kind of what I thought, but that's the rumor, and that's where all that spec is coming from. This is a cool one. A 1 in 10 typically doesn't hold up very well. 1 in 10s don't usually sustain unless they're really low print. My guess is this is probably a $15, $20 book long term. I would call this I gotta find my thing, but to me this is an I'll be back. It's a cool cover. I wouldn't chase the initial hype. I would come back for it. If you're a big Miles fan and you're collecting a bunch of those covers, but that's me. So yeah, I don't actually think I'm with Unruly. I don't think this is that great a Miles cover, to be honest. But as Sam, anything Miles has been going for money, and that's what's going on here. But I think it's probably an I'll be back. Next, we're gonna go into a little DC TV, and this is the first appearance of John Diggle, and basically. We got news this week that even though the Arrow show ended, that Diggle is coming back into their CW universe, and gonna have some appearance. We saw him, I guess, get a Green Lantern ring at some point during the show. I haven't watched Green Arrow or Flash or any of those shows in several seasons. I watched them early, but I haven't watched them in a long time. But anyway, that he's going to make multiple new appearances in the new shows, and so people were specking on this book. It was jumped up to $15 to $25. These CW shows have never supported value. If you didn't care about John Diggle when he was a mainstay of the Arrow show, why do you care about him if he's making some cameo appearances on other shows after his show is done? Yeah, CW spec is, yeah. Now, Diggle's kind of a cool character. I'd like to see maybe them do more with him in the comics, but they haven't. And Unruly said, yeah, he's a cool character, but the CW spec is just proven over and over again to be a waste of time. So yeah, that's a trap. Yeah, I made it through season 3, maybe into season 4 before I completely gave up on it. Because I made through, season 3, because I watched first 2 seasons of Flash, and then after that I gave up on both of them. So let's move on from Green Arrow, because, yeah. And to the hot book of the week, we are into Comic Buzz. This is Daredevil number 25. And so Tom and them made their video, which they released last night, and they were talking about it going for $25.30. I looked it up just a while ago because CBSI actually listed the 1 in 25 on their list instead of the regular cover, but they didn't list values. So I went to look up values, and I also looked up values for this. It's now going for $50 to $75. So spoilers, if you haven't seen this or read this yet, Until the Daredevil goes off the screen, you might want to mute me because I'm going to give spoilers. This is the spoiler here is Elektra puts on a Daredevil costume because Matt is in jail and she becomes Daredevil in this issue. So people are paying $50 to $75 for this out the gate. Here's my thoughts on this. Okay, solicitation for 25 or 27 already shows she's not gonna be in costume. Now maybe that was just because they didn't want to like spoil. I know there's a second print coming with her in costume. I know she was in costume in King in Black as well. I just don't think this is probably going to be a long-term thing. Maybe it. I mean, I guess long-term, maybe it has the potential. Like, you talk about Jane Foster's Thor or whatever, something like that. Maybe, but I just don't think this is going to last long enough or be. That lasted for years. That was a major part of Jason Aaron's run. I just don't see it with this one. I have not clicked back on the chat window, so I've sold 2 125s for. Yeah, Dollar Ben is talking about this one. Hey, Dollar Ben, I didn't see you come in. Did I miss you come in? No, that's your first comment. Okay. I'm going to get to the 125 in just a second. I just think long-term, this is not a good spec. I don't think she stays as Daredevil very long. And maybe I'm wrong, but I just don't see this as a long-term change. Actually, I could have grabbed it. I didn't. So I don't do a lot of, I don't do a lot of these specs. I just don't. I could be wrong. But I don't for $75 week of, and I don't think she stays as Daredevil. I really don't. We'll see what Zdarsky's going for. Good for you. If you're moving them, move them. Like I think the FOC, the order on that second print is going to be high. It's probably not trash, but it's $75. Yeah, I think that's insane. The 1 in 25 is worse in terms of pricing. We're talking 100 plus, pushing 150 for this 1 in 25. Same thing. It's related to the Elektra as Daredevil. I don't read Daredevil, so maybe I don't know what's going on with Chip Zdarsky. And maybe he's been setting this up. Maybe Elektra's going to be Daredevil for the next 3 years. Maybe this is going to be a super important run. Maybe the MCU is going to keep that cast and relaunch the Daredevil show, and they're going to have this as a plot line. And maybe this book is the thing. I think you're crazy. I think I put dumpster fire because I think people are going way crazy for it. I think realistically it's this. I think it's a cool electric key. It's kind of fun. I just don't think it's worth I think it's a $20 book and like long term. Like you could get that Jane Foster Thor book until they announce the movie for $15 to $20 forever. And I think that's what this book, well, not the 1 in 25, but I think that's what the main cover is. The 1 in 25, I think, is a $50 book, not a $150 book, which is double ratio, which is really good. I think these are both, for me, these are absolutely, I think right now they're kind of tracks just because of the value, but I think long term they're really this. Come back after this cools off, after the storyline runs its course, and get them. It's kind of fun. If you're a Daredevil electric key collector, get them. I'm clicking on the wrong thing. I can't get it to go all the way. There. I'm sorry. I was having StreamYard navigation issues. I agree. I just think the fact that people were spending those crazy prices right out the gate for something we don't know what it's going to be, to me, that is FOMO taking over. And no, I think it's a long term. It's a $20 book, not a $50 to $75 book, which is good for a modern, kind of fun key. How's the end? What's going on? Tuesday, I got an email from my pull list, and I told them to put one on there, and I got one. Good for you, Dr. Lovebox. Yeah, I could, I'll be honest, I had the opportunity, and I didn't really know exactly what was going on. I knew that it was a hot book. I hadn't really paid enough attention, and I just didn't grab it because, I'm not that interested. There you go. So yeah, like I said, I think it does have value. I just don't think it has this value. There's where I'm going with it. Yeah. Yeah, there was also, what was the other cover? There was the null cover. So there was the main, the 125, and the null cover. Those are three, I think. FOMO for a low print run. Mm-hmm. So, all right, we're going to move away from that, and we're going to move into Doctor Strange. And this is more Donny Cates craziness. This is Doctor Strange 384, and I have not been reading King in Black. I'm just not going down this. There's too many. I'm not doing it. Yeah, so Dollar Bin and I are actually, despite my little overly dramatic dumpster fire at the beginning, Dollar Bin and I are on the same page on Daredevil. We're thinking the same thing. So apparently bad things happen in the Century. Kate Strange is actually pretty good. It is a cool cover. So what's going on here is basically people are specking that in this issue of Doctor Strange, he kind of merges with the Void. I guess Null does something similar. People are thinking Century, and people have been specking for a while, Century and the Void are going to play a role. I didn't read King in Black, but Tom and Key Collector actually indicated they thought, based on what happened, that this really wasn't good spec. I don't know. I haven't read it. I don't have spoilers on that. I don't know. But to me, this doesn't appear to have a direct tie in what's happening in King in Black. This is just a similar, like, setup kind of thing, and that makes this a big old trap. People are paying, let's see, 10 to 15 for this, but a high sale of 50, and actually it's trending closer to 50 today, or well, it's trending higher than the 10 to 15. 10 to 15 was the average, is what Tom said, but there was a sale of 50. There's been other sales well above 10 to 15. To me, this is Case does a lot of these little story snippets, takes things from other runs, and mentions them, but they most of the time don't amount to that much. Not always, but most of the time they don't. I don't think this is good spec. There's no real first here. Yeah. The price jump is crazy. I agree, saying, hey, Big O, I didn't see you come in. Kachun saying Cates' Doctor Strange run is pretty good. I could see that. I could see Cates being a good Strange writer. The other book on the list is the 1 in 25 of the second print. Sorry, the second print of that same book. And that one, he's not actually the cover. The cover of the first one has the thing where he's joining with the Void, but this one doesn't. And it's going for 30 to 40 again. I just don't see this story attribute paying off. I'll be wrong, but Dollar Bin agrees with Kachung, I think, on the Cates being a pretty good run. He does like to pull from prior work. It doesn't mean that it's going to matter. He likes to have all these little connections and ties. This is one that just doesn't. There's no key here. It's Doctor Strange in the Void kind of thing, but there's no real, it didn't last. It didn't matter. And then Null is doing something similar. Where's the key? I don't see the key here. That's just that's my problem with this, and why people are paying. Where I think this is a trap is there's no real key here. Hey, Johnny, what's going on? And Raymond, hey, thank you for dropping in. Kate is great, but she's like, he can't finish the story. I feel like there's some of that. He just all right, we're moving on to more Kates. And this is Thor number 5. So if you guys remember, I ripped on people paying $100 for some of these Thor books when they came out because of Black Winter. Well, then apparently Black Winter appeared to die, and these books crashed under $20. After they were pushing 70, 80, they crashed way down in value. And then this week, somebody asked Cates, more Donny Cates, fueling spec. He loves to do it. asked him if he was done with Black Winter, and he said he was not done with Black Winter. And this book hit the list again. Raw copies are now back up to $50. 9.8s are back up to $120 after being $2 to $250 at one point for a peak, but down under $100 once it appeared that Black Winter wasn't going to amount to anything. So yeah, hey, there's Charlie is in the house, one of my favorite wrenches. What's going on? Wrench Kids Unite, thank you. Yeah, here you go. 100 to 500 to 400 to 100 to yeah. So this has been a little bit all over. This thing's been all over the place. People spec'd on it super hard. People jumped off of it super hard. People are jumping back onto it super hard. My thought on this is, what did I put? Oh, I think this is still a trap. I think, I put I'll Be Back. I meant to put that one. I think it's still a trap. Cates loves to mess with people. He loves the whole spec game. Do I think he'll use Black Winter again? Yes. The buildup was too big. I don't think we've seen the last of Black Winter, but does that mean Black Winter is null? Does that mean Black Winter is the Batman Who Laughs? Those are the only two recent villains that have really, really sustained. We'll see. I would be, at the very least, I'll be back on this one right now again, because people jumped off of it. You could have had it for dirt cheap for a while. So, it's Kid Collector. Is Kate in it? Oh, I missed. Kid Collector is in the house. What's going on? So Cates is a good salesman. Yes, he is. Cates is a very good salesman. It is a kind of a cool Thor cover, Charlie. Definitely. So, all right, we're next. Where are we going? Oh, we are on the Toxic Avenger #1, and this has everything to do with, I don't know if it was news or rumors. I don't know if it was actually an official announcement, but people were treating it as such. That Peter Dinklage had been cast in a Toxic Avenger movie. That although it's an unnamed role, but everybody's assuming he's going to be the Toxic Avenger because it's basically going to be a lot of CGI and stuff. Oh, you guys are watching Spartacus. Very nice. Very nice. Yeah. He set the star in this, and probably as the title character. So this book is taken off. Raw copies are going for $30. A 9.8 went for $225. If this happens, I think this is a good spec. I would still put this as I'll Be Back. Because there'll be lulls. We have known, like, there's been a lull in the there was a lull in the She-Hulk books between, like, that they were making a show and then they were announcing. There's these lulls where you can get stuff for cheaper. That's what I would just be patient. Let the news kind of fade for about 2 months, 3 months. Then go look for this. My guess is it'll be cheaper than it is now. And that just tends to be the pattern. It may not be as cheap as it was before this announcement, but it'll be cheaper than it is at the moment. The old movie is so weird. I've never seen the old movie. Took a lifetime to get anything. Nice. It's been in development hell for a long time, which is why I wouldn't, like, my guess is it's still going to take a while. I'd be surprised if it happens very long. The guy from Game of Thrones. Yeah, Peter Dinklage. Tyrion is the guy that got cast. So hopefully it does actually happen. That'd be cool. Next, we're going to move more MCU. We're going to move into MCU proper. Sort of MCU proper. So here is Black Panther Annual #1. This is that whole, there's a little bit of, this is still Shuri spec. Shuri appears as Black Panther in this. It's kind of an alternate timeline, alternate version. So there's some debate about whether this is really her true first appearance as Black Panther. All I know is the market decided that the true first appearance of Jane Foster as Thor is that What If, and they dumped money into that. That's still the biggest book, more so than Thor 1 or God of Thunder 25, where she actually, like, becomes the the Thor that we're going to probably, the version of Thor we're probably going to see in the movies. People still are jumping on that. What if? This is what's happening here. It's the same kind of thing. Raw copies are going for 50 plus. My guess is, with the news related to that they cast, within the last couple of weeks, they cast another character who's probably going to be another guy who's going to probably be the villain of Black Panther 2, that they were starting production. No word as of yet as to whether or not they're recasting or if they're going to roll Shuri or what they're going to do there. People are still specking on her. My guess, this is pretty good spec. Again, I think there's been a little bit of lulls related to this, but not a lot. I would still probably put this in I'll Be Back as opposed to chasing it right now, but that's just me. It's high print run, maybe a quick lull. Yeah. Only people from the 70s get this cover. Yeah, and got the fist. Yeah, the kind of the upward raised fist, definitely. So with that, we're going to move into the other main MCU spec this week, which is everything to do with the photo leaks from the set of Hawkeye. And we got Haley Steinfeld as Kate Bishop. That casting had been rumored forever. She had denied it. Marvel had denied it repeatedly, even though it just kept coming out that she was going to be Kate Bishop. And this week we got photos of her as Kate Bishop on set. This book has been a roller coaster over the last 2 years. There's rumors related to Kate Bishop. This book jumps up and everybody kind of forgets and then slowly creeps back down to where it was at, then it jumps up. And it's been doing this over and over again. The fact that the Hawkeye show is not that far away, the fact that we know it's her now, we know she's appearing, I don't think there's going to be much of a roller coaster left with this book. I think this book is probably where it's at. Somebody put me a 9.8s are going for $350 to $400. Raw copies are going for $125. I would guess this is probably where this book is going forward. I would be very much surprised if this book comes back any. I don't know that it's going to jump a lot until maybe the show comes out. You could argue it's this. I keep forgetting to say of a thing of, price is about right. If you haven't gotten this book at this point, then you didn't really want it that bad. So I don't know that I would be like, I definitely wouldn't be chasing it because there's been enough time and rumors and everything else that if you wanted it, you should have had it already. But I don't think it's going to get lower than this. I think this is where this book is at going forward. That's just me. Yeah. J Hood just picked it up. Nice. She was awesome in Bumblebee. Yeah, I think she'll be great. I think it's good casting. And I'm looking forward to the factor that's on the next two books because I have read that Matt Fraction run, which it appears to be based on, and we also got in these photos. Get over here to the thing. We got Lucky the Pizza Dog. So if you've never read this run, this is one of my favorite runs from the last decade on any character. I'm not a Hawkeye fan. I read this because people kept telling me it was great. It is fan-freaking-tastic. And yeah, we got Lucky the Pizza Dog and the pictures as well. This is a Hawkeye #1 from that run. It is the first appearance of Lucky the Pizza Dog, which is why it's on this list. And it's going for $15 to $20, a 9.8 going for $135. I don't know how solid the spec is on Lucky the Pizza Dog. Clearly he's going to appear, but I don't know that that's a super valuable book. But at $15 to $20, Lucky the Pizza, he's a good boy. Give the $15 to $20. But anyway, yeah, I think that's probably a pretty reasonable. My guess is once the series comes and goes, depending on how they use the dog, this is going to fade. I don't know that it's going to hold. It's probably a $10 book because it's kind of a super minor key. I don't know that I don't think that Chewie, the cat from Captain Marvel and stuff, maintain much value. I'll be surprised if this maintains much value, but I think it's fun spec. This is the kind of fun spec for me. People do like dogs and pizza, according to Sam. I want pizza. Buy a pizza for that money. There you go. Recruit the Pet Avengers. I like this. Hey, Deep House, what's going on? Other people are talking about how this is an awesome run. Yeah. Second most famous dog in the in the Marvel universe. There's a dog in the photos with Jeremy Renner and Haley Steinfeld as Hawkeye and Kate Bishop. There is a dog in the photos that is a golden that looks like Lucky the Pizza Dog. Lucky the Pizza Dog's in. I think that's for sure. Yeah, Lockjaw would be number one. So I think $15 to $20 is probably not crazy. The other book related to Lucky that made the list this week is Hawkeye number 11. And if you've never read the run, then you've probably never read this issue, but this is a fantastic issue told from the perspective of Lucky the Pizza Dog. The issue is from his perspective, and this one's going for 15 to 30. It's a really good issue. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it as just a different take that continues the Hawkeye story, but tells it from this other perspective that I think it's just a fantastic comic. Forget the fact that Lucky's appearing in the show. I think this is just a fantastic issue of a comic, period. Again, $15-$20. There's a couple of them going for 30 or so. This is a solid comic. My guess is this is probably always a $10+ comic going forward too. I know the run won awards. I don't know if this particular issue did or not, but that it would not surprise me. He's low-key judging everyone. There you go, yeah. Oh, he's talking about, I think he's going back to the Toxic Avenger. Yeah, we already talked about that, Jeremiah, but CGI. Toxic Avenger is going to be CGI anyway in makeup, and think about what they made him look like in Thor or in Endgame and not Endgame, but Infinity War. He looked like he was even bigger than Thor. Like, yeah, he was a dwarf. He was playing the dwarf, but he was actually taller. So, yeah. Hey, Tropic, what's going on? VV is judging us all. He's a good boy. So it's worth the spec. All right, the rest of the books this week were Star Wars. Most of these, I may do a Cash or Trash special episode on Star Wars. I've talked about it a couple times. I think it's time to finally do it. I haven't done one since I did the Miles Mania back in the summer, so I may do that later this week, just talk about Star Wars in general and what's going on there. But we'll see how motivated I get this week. But first up, we got... You can't click there and make it work. You got to click over here. Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, number 3. So this is the first cover appearance of Darth Maul. He actually appears before this. This is also the first appearance of Mace Windu. So what's the spec here? To me, I don't see it. Like, people are specking on this, again, because the unmentioned planet where the magistrate is from, somebody let it leak that it was actually Dathomir, which is obviously Darth Maul's home planet. Which is fine, but I don't see it. But he's in Disney canon. Spoilers, if you've never watched the Rebels show, they had a final confrontation between him and Obi-Wan. It's over. Like, he's dead. This is like after Return of the Jedi, and that was before A New Hope. Maul is gone. So I don't know what the spec is on this one, really. People are jumping on it, though. Where's that one at? Okay. $65, 9.8 went for $500. It's a really cool Darth Maul cover. If you're just not speccing and you just want to get key Darth Maul books, okay, but I don't see how they're using him going forward. I definitely wouldn't be like chasing this right now. This would be like, it's a solid book, but this is absolutely an I'll be back for me. This is one you wait and see if you can find a deal. You can find it somewhere. Would not be chasing this thing right now. Yeah. And the way it's Star Wars, so who knows? They might not leave him dead, but the way they killed him in Rebels, if you've never seen that episode, you should go track it down and watch it because it's really good. Even if you don't know about the other Rebels characters, just the final, those 2 minutes, the whole section with him and Obi-Wan coming face to face again is amazing. Hey Phil, what's going on? First time pre-release of the film. Isn't Darth Maul dead? He's died he dies several times. I think people think Star Wars universe is and it is very comic booky in that way. So this is true. All right, we're gonna move on to a book that is like jumping right now, and not sure exactly why right now, other than everything is hot. And this is Darth Vader number 3, First Appearance of Dr. Aphra. This is a character they keep giving comics to people. This is a popular character. Something is going to happen with this character. Let's be real. Her age and her timeline of when she appears in the Star Wars universe is right in line with during the original trilogy of movies, which means 5 years, 6 years after whatever The Mandalorian is. She can be a part of this universe that's going on right now on the TV. My God, we are going to see her at some point. People are specking on that. Right now, raw copies are pushing $100. 9.8 were consistently going, because I've been watching, had been going consistently 2 to 230. And then the last week or so, they've jumped 250 to 300. So yeah, there's another new push on this. I know there was a rumor that the one character that's like an assistant to Moff Gideon in the show, if you've been watching The Mandalorian, is actually her in disguise. I don't know about that, but I think that's just driving the fact that people think she's going to appear. To me, this book, I'll be honest, I think this book is this. I think this book has growth potential. You think about what the Ahsoka book did. You think about if they give her her own show. I think at $100 for raw copy, you think about what a book I'm going to talk about here a little bit later is doing right now. I think this book is still going to head up further. I really do. I could be wrong on that, but I expect her to use it. Rebels is some great Star Wars stories. Kachung. Empire did nothing wrong. Yeah, this is true. Clone of Darth Maul. There you go. He could still be in a Sith holocron. Yeah. But that was supposed to be a prequel, but now they're talking about, his return to, somebody's saying that was debunked. I'm thinking they're talking about the Mace thing. Because, the rumors are no, that's not going to happen. So, I think she's a spinoff set around the same time that we could see. I think it happens here with Dr. Aphra. I'm not sure who he's saying is correct to or whatever. And then the last 3 books are all related to full spoilers for not the most recent episode of The Mandalorian, but the one before, so 2 episodes ago. So if you have not been watching, or you were behind 2 episodes on The Mandalorian, have you not seen episode 5, I would suggest you check out, because that's what we're talking about. And I'm going to talk about it starting now, and it is Star Wars Heir to the Empire #1, first appearance of Grand Admiral Thrawn. So this was a legacy character. If you've never read those original books, those are some of my favorite Star Wars universe stories, period. I love those books. But they brought him back for Rebels, and they've brought him back. Disney has brought him back into the new canon through Rebels and comics and books. So he very much still exists in the Star Wars universe. And 2 episodes ago, Ahsoka mentioned his name, that she was looking for him. And if you know how the Rebels show ended, you know that probably also brings Ezra and Sabine and all of those characters into play. But his name was dropped, and this book is exploding. Oh, that got disproven. Okay, I didn't think that was the case. I thought that was people were just speculating on it, but it is a great cover. So this book basically, I've been watching this book. I've been wanting to grab a copy. I just had never done it, pulled the trigger. This book was running $60, $80 for a really nice raw copy, high grade, which was down from where it had been in the summer. 9.8. We're still pushing like 500. And this book exploded after his name was mentioned. High grade raw copies are going for 200 plus. Like low mid-grade stuff still pushing 100. Well, for a modern, mid-grade is pushing 100. Things with lots of spine ticks are pushing $100. 9.8 touched $1,500 this week. A newsstand version of this went for $1,700. And this all has to do with his name being mentioned, and then that matched up with a story that also said that they were planning to make this Heir to the Empire book trilogy. They were planning to adapt it either into a series of movies or the shows, and people are specking hard that Thrawn is the future villain of Star Wars universe for the foreseeable future. And I think it's probably a pretty good bet. Dave Filoni, I think they're handing him the keys. He's already used the character in Rebels. Yeah, I think this is happening. If anything, right now, raw copies have not caught up to where. I think this is going to be long-term straight cash. Raw copies probably have not quite caught up to where they need to be for what 9.8s are going for. They're getting there though, rapidly. This is Clone Wars. This is the Ahsoka book. I think this book is gone and it ain't coming back at this point. And there might be a lull where you could snag one, but I don't think there's going to be much. You're not getting a high grade copy raw for this under 100 anytime in the next couple of years. This book is gone. And that leads to the last two books. Oh, the action figure comic pack. Nice. Prices that go to, So I think that, like I said, I think this book is gone. It's just going to keep going up and up. I really think. I don't know about like a lot. I think the 9.8s will probably settle here in the $1,500 range. I think your raw copies are going to be looking at $300-$400 minimum for high grade. But I don't think it's coming back. Final two books are also Thrawn books. First is Thrawn #1. So this is where they reintroduced him into canon, in comics at least. And this is his origin. This *1 is going for $25, $30. 9.8 went for $130, or no, 9.6 went for $130. I don't know why they did that. And didn't list the 9.8 price on Tom's channel. But yeah, my guess is 9.8s or 250-ish range, probably similar to the Dr. Aphra book. Are going to be very soon. This is the second book to get behind Heir to the Empire, in terms of his clearances. And really the book that you want is the 1 in 50 of this book. There's a 1 in 50 cover of this book that I'm going to show right now. And that is a Matina 1 in 50 close up. And this thing is insane. Like, it had been averaging around 500 plus anyway. Like, it was a valuable book anyway. People were on this book already. That was for a 9.8. It was going for like 500 on this 150 or 1 in 50 variant. The most recent sale was 1,000. And yeah, this thing's going up. This is a hard to find book. Thrawn wasn't a super high print run. VV has the cover A and the 1 in 10. Nice. The 1 in 10 is going for good value too. These are just the two that they put on the list this week. I think you could put any of the covers on the list. They're all going for, your last chance is you got to find this. Somebody doesn't know what they got. What was it? I seen on Instagram, somebody posted that somebody found in a flea market a ASM 129 for $4. Like, it wasn't high grade, but it was high enough grade. And like, that's the kind of thing you're talking about at this point. Like, you got to find these books somewhere where they're not. Very nice. Good luck, J Hood. Good luck. But yeah, so this book also, I think all of these Thrawn books at this point. Oh yeah. So those are the books this week. I'm not a big fan of the Daredevil spec. I'm not a big fan of the Doctor Strange, Thor, all that Donny Cates stuff. I think none of that seemed very solid to me. We can move this. I could be wrong there, but yeah, there was a whole bunch of nothing. I think the Kate Bishop, that book's going to keep going. Finally, the Toxic Avenger, I think you'll have some time between now and when that movie comes out to get that for less. I just like Lucky the Pizza Dog because I love that run. So those are fun bucks. And then the Star Wars stuff, for the most part, is just everything Star Wars is going through the roof right now. The show is super hot, and the fact that they appear to be turning the Star Wars keys over to Dave and John, kind of like they did with Kevin Feige. If they just give those two guys the keys to the Star Wars universe, yeah, they're going to be a lot better off than they've been. I think fans are going to be super happy with where they go. So, they do have a symbiote pandemic. I'm not like, I think the symbiotes are cool. I don't think they're the be all end all. And right now, Marvel just pushes them, and Donny Cates is pushing that whole thing so hard. Everybody's a symbiote, and it just, I don't know. Oh, he says there's a Marvel Age that has a preview. Well, previews right now are super popular. So if you want to try to snag something there for a little spec before other people do, then that's probably a good idea, Vivi. I'm not a big preview fan, but hey. So, all right, I'm going to get out of here. It's 45 minutes in. This went too long because I did 19 different things. But thanks, everybody, for watching. I'll be back tonight with the Whatever Show, and then on White Will's channel for D&D tonight also. And then tomorrow night, we are wrapping up East of West on my indie show with me, Bear Island, Hialeah, and Comic Books NYC. We've talking about volumes 9 and 10, and then this is a series as a whole. So if you finish East of West and want to come hang out and talk about it with us, come do that tomorrow night. All right. Thanks, Phil. Jeremiah thinks I'm underestimating Cates. It's not that I don't think Cates is a good idea. I just don't think these particular things are that people are specking on right now are things Cates is really going to use. They're not directly like that Doctor Strange stuff. It just seems they seem like odd specs to me. They don't seem accurate with what he's doing. Excuse me. There you go. Heir to Empire book. Here, I'll just show you if you guys have any idea. My original copy from when I was a kid. Oh, I knocked stuff over. You think I've read that a few times? My original trade of Heir to the Empire. I've read that one a couple times. So, all right, we're going to get out of here. Thanks, everybody.